Brian needed a moment away. With the eyes of every person on the room upon him, he'd reached his capacity of interaction with others. His throat seized and his breath became shallow. The demons had to be wrong. He'd long heard stories of the Lightbringer who God sent to earth in the past, an angel so pure and powerful that he saved mankind from its darkest moments. That did not describe Brian. Normal, regular, average. Those words described Brian.
What a load of bull hockey.
Madison whispered as she turned her head toward his ear.
None of those are at all accurate for you. Strong, brave, and protective are words I'd use.
Her words filled him with pleasure because he knew she meant them. She'd grown so much in the time he'd known her, but one thing had stayed the same. Madison said what she meant and meant what she said. It remained one of the qualities he respected the most about her. When her words had the potential for being unkind, she just didn't say them. Even when both her parents rocked her world repeatedly with a wealth of new information, she didn't act out or rage.
I can hear your thoughts.
She reminded him.
I'm not sitting on that pedestal. I've had my bouts with extreme behaviors.
Then stop reading it. He suggested.
It is not a pedestal, but with pride that I think those thoughts. Pride to know you.
The others still stared at him, and it set his teeth on edge. He'd always been the odd man out, the one who couldn't quite fit in despite his best effort. When he'd been a small boy, his own parent chose to leave him in a community of angels because they didn't want an angel born with markings that they couldn't explain. It didn't do well for parents of a creature of light to have a child marked for war. They didn't want him, so they cast him aside because he hadn't been normal. As he grew up, nothing changed. He'd make friends, and then something would happen. He'd do something they couldn't, and they'd reject him just as his parents had. The ultimate rejection had been when God cast him from the heavens for saving his ward, for doing the job the Almighty One gave him. The angels would eventually come to realize he didn't belong. He could handle it. He only prayed Madison looked at him the same way, no matter what she learned about him.
I think it would be best if we retired to a place that didn't bear the markings of hell.
Jacqueline said. Brian scowled at him even though his words made sense. That man had stabbed Madison. He spilled her blood and left her with a mark she'd wear forever. Brian didn't care if the man stemmed from the same gene pool. Given the opportunity, Brian planned to break his nose.
We shouldn't go back to my place. Mastema knows where I live. I don't want him to know how big our little army has grown.
Madison interjected. Madison's mother spoke first.
We could go to the summer cottage.
Jacqueline groaned and placed his head between his hands.
That place has no hot tub, no cable, and is a million miles from nowhere.
Perfect for a strategic defense,
Lambert said. Lambert, or Ramiel, bothered Brian the most. He lied to him. The detective arrested Brian and play-acted responses to supernatural situations that had happened. The one thing Brian hated more than being different was someone who played the others around them for a fool. Though his acquaintance with Lambert had been short, he'd grown to like the man. To find out it had all been a test just pissed Brian off.
Brian, darling, do stop glaring. I hoped you would walk with me a moment.
Madison's mother said as she walked toward him and extended her arm to him. Brian didn't want to leave Madison, but his curiosity wouldn't let him refuse. I will return, he said to Madison.
I know, go. I'll wait for you in your truck.
Madison replied. With a nod, he held out his arm to Vivian so she could rest her hand on his forearm, and they walked away from the crowd. Her touch still caused him pain, but he liked her and didn't mind. They walked to the courtyard where Madison's battle had taken place. It had been so hard for him to stand on the sidelines while the woman he cared for put herself in danger. His will to protect her had been so strong, the others had to restrain him.
My parents have never been good at keeping pertinent information to themselves,
She said. Brian didn't say anything. He didn't know how to respond.
I suppose they think by laying all the cards on the table that there can be no secrets or lies to hide behind.
They walked to a small set of bleachers, he hadn't noticed before, and they sat on the bottom rung. "I don't know where you are going with this," he said.
I can't read thoughts like the angels, but I can see heartache. I can see an overwhelmed man in need of a break.
In all his years, he'd never learned to conceal his face from those around him. At that stage in his life, he doubted he ever would. "I don't like it when I stand out in a crowd," he said.
Oh, I love it.
"You do?" he asked.
Absolutely, our Creator made me special, He made me unique. I am unlike any other demon, and He gave me the best gift one could receive in my daughter, who also happens to be as abnormal as they come. There is no other like her, and perhaps there never will be.
Brian hadn't thought of it that way. Everyone in their small group had some type of abnormal aspect to them. Madison stood out the most, being the daughter of an angel and a demon. Raphael couldn't speak because his words were destined to come true. Gabriel saw the death of others. They were all different.
We all knew, by the way,
She said.
that you were no garden variety angel, from the moment we first laid eyes on you.
He didn't know how he felt about that. How?
It's the little things you do. You protected Madison even after you were shot by bullets that should have killed you. You glow when your heart is at its fullest.
For some reason that brought a smile to her face. The others would have done the same for her. He said.
The others would have died, Brian. There is only one reason behind those slugs, and no angel has ever walked away alive before.
He got right to the root of his worry. "I cannot lead an army. I can barely survive on my own on this wretched planet. Look at the company I've kept. The entire time I've been here, I chose friends who were worshipped demons. They tried to harm Madison." Vivian laughed, though he didn't see what she found funny.
That is another thing I find so adorable about you. You sit next to a demon, the very creature damned by your God, and you worry about a weak-willed human who chose to be corrupt.
Brian turned to look at her, and knew he had to fix her misconception. "God has not damned you, Vivian. Demons aren't damned just because they live. He will never forsake you. All beings must earn his wrath before they are damned." She smiled at him as though she didn't believe him.
You are far more special than you could ever know, Brian. No matter what comes ahead, I will stand by your side and fight any war you lead.
"I cannot lead a war. I spent my entire life protecting children. I trained, of course, but to protect, not to wage a battle."
Which is it you fear, the inability to lead or the inability to fight?
Brian thought on her words. "Both."
Then let me take one of those fears away. Starting tomorrow, after we've all had a good night's sleep, I will teach you everything you need to learn. Your God has provided. Look around, Brian. He's given you an army of generals.
"Before I even think of a war on demons, we have to rescue Kennedy." There would be no negotiations there.
Do you still believe we'll find her alive?
Vivian asked, and Brian realized she had no hope left to find the other woman alive. "Yes, yes, I do." She seemed to ponder his words.
Then we will. Let's rejoin the others.